What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Now, this story is near and dear to my heart. Y'all know I'm born and raised in Gainesville. No slander for any Florida player will be tolerated on this podcast. Disclaimer, because there was a report today that Anthony Richardson, who is the backup quarterback for the Colts and former Florida Gators football player, wants to get traded or moved on at some point this offseason to a Sean McVay coach style offense. That's what he wants. So anyone from the Sean McVay tree, basically, he wants to be a part of. The Sean McVay tree and the Shanahan tree are kind of like the same tree. So this is everybody like O'Connell and Vikings. It's Miami, obviously, with Coach McDaniel. Of course, it's the Rams and the actual San Francisco 49ers themselves. I think there's probably one or two others floating around in the league. But it's the offensive style that seems to be the most pervasive. It seems to be Kellen Moore could be maybe attached to that as well, where guys just come through that system, they're assistant coaches, and they branch off and get their own coaching job, and then they kind of coach the same way. Now, bring this up because Anthony Richardson is only owed about $6 million next year, so it's not a lot of money. And he was at one point a top 5 pick. And the question is, should Miami pursue Anthony Richardson? Now, some people on the surface hear that question and just dismiss it. He's been super injury prone, crazy inaccurate. All those are true. Objectively, those are all true. He was also a top 5 pick for a reason. He's also a giant dude. He's a tremendous athlete with a live arm. The question is, if he had proper coaching and you can hone all that ability, is it worth taking a chance on? That's the question. I am not here to say whether it will work or not work. Is it worth taking a chance on? Because there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks in the market next year that are that good. You might have a Kyler Murray floating around who is smaller with injuries. Kirk Cousins, I believe, is done. You may, I don't know, have a Carson Wentz floating around out there if you want to go that route. There's not a lot of guys on the open market that you think could actually make your team better. And I've said for months, I do not think this upcoming draft class is going to really give the quarterbacks people want. So what do? You wait 2 years for a quarterback? I may not be in the cards for some coaches and GMs whose jobs are on the line all the time. So would you take a chance on a guy that at his apex could be a version of what Cam Newton was, which is what his comp is, like physically and, arm talent and all that stuff? Like, Anthony Richardson's talent is Cam Newton-esque. He's actually faster than Cam. Now, Cam had more intangibles, and Cam early on in his career was much not injury prone at all. Cam didn't really get hurt until he got a little bit older. But up until like 2017, Cam was pretty indestructible. And then when he started getting hurt, the wheels kind of fell off shoulder and elbow and back, and it started going downhill. But Anthony Richardson from his very first year has been hurt. And it's because he would run a lot and he would run somebody over, and the next play, dislocate his shoulder. Even this year, he got hurt in the preseason because he didn't see like a side adjustment on a sack. They had a guy lined up on the edge. He didn't see him and just let this guy come free. He got hit. Oh, I'm hurt. And then Daniel Jones ended up taking the job, which ended up working out for the Colts. But if you can harness that talent, if you could take Anthony Richardson's size, like strength, his age, the fact that he's never really been fully groomed. At Florida, he wasn't coached up well enough, and I'm a Gator fan. Y'all know this. But he wasn't coached up at Florida to be a pro quarterback. We kind of let him just run around and just be athletic and do stuff, but he wasn't coached up the way he needed to be. And in the league, he's been so hurt and injury prone that he hasn't been really coached up and guided there either. But if guys like Sam Darnold late in his career can have a resurgence, and guys like Baker Mayfield can go to his 4th team before he finds success, is Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones is on his own team. We wrote Daniel Jones off. It's his 3rd team. Like, is that guy good? He's kind of a bum. And we see he's now at least like league minimum to above that. I don't think he's top 10 at all, but Daniel Jones is probably better than half the quarterbacks in the league. They're winning games. Can Anthony Richardson on a better offense with a better coach who's creative enough, who can figure some stuff out, could he make a difference? I think it's worth taking a chance on. Right? Zach Wilson's on a 1-year deal, so after this year, Zach will be gone. And we won't have a backup. I mean, Quinn Ewers, I guess, will be he will just rise to be the backup. But we have Quinn under contract for another 3 years. Like, Quinn could be our 3rd string, and he's not going anywhere. He's not getting paid anything. Would you take a chance on getting Anthony Richardson in there? I think it's something to look at, especially since you can't just exactly move off Tua. I know a lot of people aren't going to be here for that. This may be my Gator bias coming out, but I think it's something to consider. Now, something that's been really hard to fathom this year is that we have not had particularly great wide receiver 2 production. Remember going into the year, we talked about who the wide receiver 3 was going to be. It was going to be Nick Westbrook-Ikine because we went and got him and paid him money. And then Malik Washington reemerged and we're like, oh, this guy's got natural chemistry with Tua. He's quick, good hands. Well, he'll be our number 3. And then Tyreek gets hurt. So everybody shifts up one. Jalen Waddle goes from number 2 to the 1, which we've all been wanting as a fan base. We all like Waddle. And a lot of us think he could be wide receiver 1. But then Tyreek came. He got to be one of the top 2s. But then we really didn't have anyone emerge to wide receiver 2. Honestly, it's been Devon Achane. He's second on our team in receiving yards, and he's our number 1 running back. Kind of a problem. If I ask you, like, quick, who's our third leading receiver? You would be like, he had a good game, whatever. It's Tyreek Hill, who's been hurt since week 4. We are approaching week 13. So that's not good. If this guy hasn't played in 9 games and he's your third leading receiver, what are we doing? And I'm not exactly sure why that's happened. Tua allegedly has a good chemistry with Malik, but it really hasn't panned out at all. I see Malik running deeper routes than he was when he was wide receiver 3. Like before, he would run routes kind of in the middle of the field, little stop routes, little curls, whatever. He's running a lot of more out-breaking routes, and part of that's because defenses are being geared to stop our middle passing attack. But it's been odd to watch him not blossom with more opportunity. That's the whole idea. That was the idea, is that the Mebo Samuel comparison thing was, if we put him on kick returns, get him on reverses, line him up in the backfield, throw him passes, he's going to emerge as this really good wide receiver 2, and he just hasn't. Nick Westbrook-Ikine is basically irrelevant on this team. He has almost as many catches as I do, and I don't play for the Dolphins. He just hasn't worked out. Tosh Washington has come and gone. Darren Waller was kind of making the case as like a third or second option, but he doesn't play most of the time. It's been a problem, and it's something that I think has held the team back from scoring points. I think it's kind of forced our hand to be a more running-based team because no one's catching passes. It's either Jalen or dump offs to the RB. Hey, Achane, get that dump off. Or basically, nobody's catching passes. Like, it's kind of dried up quickly. We went from this being easily our strongest unit to kind of a liability. Like, if you want to stop the Dolphins, if you gear up and stop the run, that actually might be the smartest way to do it. Where before, you had to stop the pass for sure. Gather Tua, jam those receivers. Now it's like, we got to watch out for Waddle, but the rest of those guys we could probably single up on. And I think it's something that if we don't address for the rest of the season, then you're going to have issues scoring points, issues moving the ball. But no one stepped up. And hopefully somebody does. So Austin Jackson's been hurt for a majority of the year, and he's allegedly starting right tackle. He is when he's healthy. And Larry's held the right tackle down pretty okay over the last few weeks, and to the point that that's not really a liability anymore. Early on, it was kind of out of control. And I talked about it. It's mostly the right guard than the right tackle situation, but either way, the right side wasn't great. So I mentioned this question yesterday for a different player about would the Dolphins consider cutting ties with them. Austin Jackson's contract is set up very nicely as well, where if we want to move off of him in the offseason, we can void $11 million and just be off the books. You have to do it after June 1st because of the cap stuff, but we can get his $11 million off the books this summer if they want to. And you're moving on from him, you're thinking, hey, this guy's not going to be healthy. Very much James Daniel adjacent. Hey, if you're not going to be healthy, then what are we paying for? I believe him and James side by side makes the right side formidable. I also believe there's a real possibility that neither of them plays this year, and even better possibility that the team possibly moves on from them just for the cap situation. We're already projected to be over the cap for next year right now. And we haven't even signed draft picks because that also bumps your cap up. You have to pay those people. So we're over the cap before the draft even starts. That's not good. Yes, some people we could cut. Some might restructure. There are ways to manipulate the cap, but we are not starting next year in a strong cap situation. And if you're like, hey, we're paying our right guard and right tackle combined like $16 million and neither of these guys is available to play, is that the right use of money? I don't know. we bought. I mean, so we bought. We invested in Austin Jackson because we think when he's healthy, he can be a cornerstone piece. We've already given him an extension. We see him as a cornerstone piece, and Patrick Paul has yet to get his money. If he continues playing well this year and plays well next year, he will get an extension, and he will be our left tackle. And if you have your left and right tackle situated, Aaron Brewer is clearly our center of the future. You got 3, and 5 like solidified. That's great. We hope Jonah comes along. Right guard, we'll see. But if Austin Jackson's not healthy, then he obviously is not the tackle of the future. Because you can't defend me if you're in a walking boot, if your arm is in a sling, if you're just out. And he may just be one of those guys that's injury prone. He got hurt towards the end of last year. And he's been hurt a lot of this year. So that's 2 years running of injuries. James Daniels hurt last year. We picked him up, hurt again. So in your most recent 2-year sample size, both of y'all have shown us you're not going to play. Do we want to guarantee money for you next year? I don't know. I don't know how the draft's looking for right tackles this year. I haven't looked at the perspective. But if we have a top 15 pick and this draft is rife with just tackles and guards, last year the guards position was very weak. Tackle was strong, guard was weak. And so we reached for Jonah a little bit, right? This upcoming year, it could be exactly opposite. This could be really strong right tackle draft, could be really strong guard draft, and it's like, hey, we got plenty of draft picks. Let's get our first one, bundle some picks together, move up, get our second guy, cheap O-line, and we just move forward. We can go that direction. But there's a chance that Austin Jackson, if he doesn't come back this year, has already played his last down with Miami. I would like to see him. I think he still could be a cornerstone piece, but I would totally understand if the team is like, hey, man, we just not doing this. We're paying too many people who aren't playing, and we don't want to do that anymore. That's bad management. So keep your eyes out for this summer because we could be cutting ties with a lot of players you like just to save a couple dollars. I wanted to make this last segment a thank you to everybody who's supported and watched this channel this year. We started this year, and before this, I had no presence on the internet talking about sports. I had a anime podcast, which has now been defunct. I had a podcast, Unofficial Therapy Podcast. You can check that out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's still up there. I haven't done an episode in probably 2 years, but it's like 100 and something episodes within there. So I've done other shows, right? Unofficial Therapy, The Coolest Nerds. We did those. But I never did anything in the sports world. And so from this year starting to now, we're over 2K subscribers. We get consistently 1,000+ viewers an episode. It's because of y'all. Y'all supported me through all this. I've tried to make these as daily as possible, but we have lives. Listen, I got 9 jobs and I'm telling jokes and stuff. I'm moving around, but we still make time for the Dolphins because that's what we're all here for. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all. Y'all have made this a really cool experience to interact with fans. Somebody came at me today talking about you got to fire everybody. I'm like, hold your horses, man. Just chill. Just chill. That might eventually happen, but maybe there's something to salvage in here. But it's funny going back and forth to people about sports, hearing people's stories about where their fandom comes from. People being like, I met a guy in real life and he was like, oh man, you sound familiar. He said, yo, I subscribe to your channel. I was like, word. In real life, out in the wild. Just met someone who actually watches the show, which is crazy to me. I never knew how this was going to go. I knew it's something I wanted to do. I knew it was an opportunity that came my way. And you guys have made this a really awesome experience for me. And I enjoy doing them. All the research. And listen, sometimes it's late and I'm like, I ain't giving them nothing. And I'm like, you know what? I can give them a quick 12. And then I just pump out a little episode and we make it happen and y'all respond accordingly. And it's really been awesome to see. We look forward to keep growing the channel. I do want to have merch and stuff at some point. We just haven't gotten to that point, but we're going to keep growing the channel. We're going to keep doing this and y'all keep supporting me and we'll keep growing and we'll see how far we can go. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. If you're watching this on Thanksgiving, have an amazing Thanksgiving with your friends and family and other loved ones, man. Take time to enjoy them. That's what this time of the year is about. And take a little bit of time for us here at Dolphins Daily. We'll see you next time. Peace.